Hi folks, this is your MWIS Fleeting View with the outlook for the week ahead. Quite a complicated weather situation at the moment. We have a slowly circulating area of low pressure away toward the southwest, a waft of warm southeasterly air coming up from the Mediterranean over us at this time. But over the Atlantic, away to the west of Britain and Ireland, is a chillier northwesterly flow coming around from Greenland. Seeing how that looks on the freezing level situation, you can see that sharp boundary out to the west, the freezing level over the Atlantic as low as 600 metres, whereas at the moment for us, temperatures are well above freezing up to the highest summits. That chillier air, though, will make some inroads in from the west through this weekend, even through late Saturday, dropping below freezing across the higher western mountains in Scotland, and that lowering of temperature will continue overnight into Sunday daytime, with the highest tops in Scotland near or just below freezing point. That freezing level will tend to lift through the daytime, but not before there's the scope, at least for some snowfall across the higher tops as a frontal system just pivots its way through. Into the start of next week, for Monday, the temperature will generally lift back above freezing to the highest summits through the day. It might just start off with some local frost in places. Tuesday will see something of a lowering of freezing level back close to the highest tops in Scotland. Most places, though, will stay above freezing to the higher terrain. For Wednesday, again, a lift of temperature above freezing, well above the higher summits, and then there may just be a drop again back towards maybe even 1,000 metres or so later on in the week. So some fluctuations on those highest tops at least. Here's the weather story onwards into the weekend, and a front is moving its way northwards through Friday night into Saturday, with some rain across many places to start Saturday morning, most persistent and heaviest across central southeastern parts of the Highlands, around the Pennines as well, and rain will be on and off for a good part of the day for the Highlands. Some spots just seeing patchy light rain, others seeing the risk of something steadier, even some heavier and showery bursts in places. Wouldn't rule out an isolated rumble of thunder. England and Wales will see some early patchy rain, but some dry conditions for a few hours before showers then tend to build up onwards into the afternoon, the clouds bubbling up and the risk of some local hit and miss heavy bursts of rain, and again that chance of isolated thunder across some spots through Saturday afternoon over England and Wales. Some quite strong and gusty northerly winds developing around the western mountains near to the coast in Scotland, otherwise the wind fairly light for many on Saturday. Late in the day, as colder air arrives from the west, that scope for some snow across the higher tops in western Scotland, and onwards into Sunday, early hours of Sunday, we'll see the scope for some snow as well across the Munros further inland, as that weather system is still hanging around, and indeed comes back in to give something a bit more persistent in terms of rain across eastern mountains in Scotland through into early Sunday. Snow again across the Munros for a few hours. That feature will tend to weaken into Sunday daytime. It could give some rather persistent rain and some summit snow for a few hours in the morning, then by the afternoon largely fizzling out to just leave some patchy bits and pieces of rain. Temperatures overall will be a bit cooler on Sunday. There'll be a rather keen northerly wind across many places as well. Some brighter conditions trying to emerge, particularly in more western spots. Into the start of next week, and we see a brief ridge of high pressure toppling southwards, some clearer skies giving that scope for frost for Monday morning for some, but a westerly wind stronger across Scotland will bring some rain into the West Highlands. Further across northwestern areas it will be heavier as well, and that fairly persistent and setting in onwards into the middle of Monday and the afternoon. Strong westerly winds increasing across most places through the daytime. England and Wales more likely staying dry, but the risk of some patchy rain coming in later in the day from the northwest. That system continues overnight into Tuesday with some rain across many places, higher pressure then building from the west further into Tuesday daytime, so early patchy rain tending to give way to some drier conditions, something a bit brighter with time, but I think cloud will cover many of the hills for a good part of Tuesday. Some local breaks best further eastwards, but a drier picture emerging and lighter winds for many away from the far north of Scotland. Looking at the big picture further onwards through next week, and we're seeing this sort of mixed westerly regime really, with brief bumps of high pressure interspersed with some rain systems coming in from the Atlantic. Westerly breezes likely to prevail, so western Scotland through Wednesday turning wetter again with some strong winds across the Highlands through this time. That system moves through into Thursday, perhaps something a bit brighter, but I still think some showers, some rain at times in western Scotland on that westerly flow, and another zone of low pressure tries to develop by the time we reach Friday. Detail uncertain and the timing less certain by this stage, but a mixed or changeable end to the week with some rain or some showers very much likely to be in that forecast. Looking further ahead into early April, and predictability in the atmosphere is fairly low at the moment. There's multiple different solutions as to where the pattern could just go. Indications, though, favouring lower pressure trying to go toward the Mediterranean again and pressure trying to build further northwards. I think that first week of April could just be a bit of a mixture. We get, again, a few days of showers interspersed with some days of better conditions. The general trends further on seems to suggest that higher pressure, though, would exist further north, lower pressure would exist further south. So onwards into the sort of first couple of weeks of April, a tendency to have less in the way of Atlantic patterns and instead higher pressure more nearby over Scotland, giving some drier conditions. Further south, perhaps a greater risk of showers if low pressure, a bit like at the moment, is circulating around Biscay and dragging in the air from the continent. So east or southeasterly winds perhaps more common further into early April. You can keep an eye on all your local details for 3 days ahead, as always, on our website. That is your fleeting view. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.